Welcome to Keep Trucking Personal, where we invite you to explore the heart and soul of our company, Keevy Brothers Trucking. Through engaging storytelling, insightful market updates, and vibrant energy, our podcast reflects our culture, values, and achievements. Whether you're a team member or industry enthusiast, join us to build connections, foster growth, and inspire excellence. Discover why we're more than just a company. We're a community, a catalyst for positive change, and a home for those aspiring to be part of something extraordinary. The pre-trip is complete and engines ready. We're set to hit the road on the Keep Trucking Personal podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back to Keep Trucking Personal. My name is Tyler Keevy, and I'm your host. I hope you got to join us for the last 4 episodes. It was the Drive to Thrive 4-part series. We covered mental wellness, financial wellness, physical wellness, and relationship and family wellness. And each one of those, there's so much that goes into them. And honestly, we kind of scratched just the surface of how deep each one of those buckets is. But if you didn't get to join us and listen to those, I highly recommend you go back and listen to each episode, part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4, where we had a guest host, where Caitlin Keevy, my wife, hosted that one. And I'm very excited that she was able to help us and join us. She does so much for our family, and it just felt like it was the right thing to do to have her talk on that behalf. But I highly recommend you go back, check out those 4 episodes. There's a lot into that, and really this trucking industry needs every truck driver, every office staff to pay a little bit of attention to each one of those and kind of do some internal checks to make sure that you're thriving in each one of those categories. So go back, check it out, and as we called it, Drive to Thrive. This week I want to focus in on this DOT blitz that's coming. And so the CVSA calls it the DOT Road Check for 2025. We call it the DOT Blitz. It's kind of a 3-day event where the DOT are extremely enforcing every little thing. And they go through and they look at all parts of your truck. You can almost expect to get a level 1 DOT every time you get stopped. But they always have a focus area, okay? And this driver focus area is on hours of service. Hours of service. The vehicle focus area is going through the brake system, cargo securement, kind of all the things that they normally do. But the biggest one for us, and the thing that we're working on for this DOT inspection, with this DOT Road Blitz, which is going to happen May 13th through the 15th, is hours of service. And it's kind of funny because you would think with an electronic logbook that you would say, well, hours of service should be a no-brainer, like check, compliant. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. We've always struggled a little bit in this area, and we're going to make sure that we're prepared for this blitz on the hours of service. So I want to talk about what we're going to do 2 weeks out. So this is airing 2 weeks before the DOT blitz. What you're going to notice is that from safety to your pods to really everyone in the company, we're going to be hyper-focused on making sure that every driver's logbook is compliant 2 weeks out. Because we know during the inspection, they're going to look at your current day plus 7 or minus 7, so 8 days in total. And we want to make sure that we have you on the right trajectory before that DOT blitz starts. And so what are the little things? And, as Dean, he likes to call these the ticky-tack things, but they're real and they're issues, is they always are looking at the trailer and shipping documents. Trailer and shipping documents. The easiest little thing that you can get hung up on is to not have one of those 2 boxes filled out. We've seen in the past where some drivers have just kept stacking trailer numbers, so you could have 15 trailer numbers on your log. Well, that's no good either. You need to have the exact trailer number that you have, and the shipping documents or bill of lading number or order number relevant to the load you have on your truck. They're going to look for that. Specifically in a focused area of hours of service, they're going to tear those logbooks apart. And we want to make sure you're prepared. So first and foremost, make sure you do the little things right now. Start putting in your trailer number and your shipping information for every load that's on the truck in your logbook. Sounds easy, right? It's hard to do. I think our drivers and many drivers in the industry get caught up, get loaded, get rolling, I'll take care of it later on. Well, you're not compliant if it's not done in the moment. So let's make sure that everything is done and it's tidied up. Also, we have dealt with some issues before in personal conveyance. We've done a lot of educating on that. We've had podcast episodes about personal conveyance. Sean Porter has done YouTube videos on personal conveyance. We've done a lot to educate. So if you're kind of questioning like, hey, what do I need to make sure everything's up to snuff on my personal conveyance? Please go back and look at some of that content. Make sure you're up to speed, because we do not want you to personal convey towards or advancement of your load, or your next load if you're empty even. Like, there's gray areas, and you need to make sure that you're paying attention to that. I'd highly recommend you do not use any personal conveyance for the 2 weeks prior to the DOT road check or the blitz, because why give them anything to look at? Why give them anything to question you on? Why? Just let's do everything we can to keep these clean and tidied up. And so signing your logs, Motive does a great job in prompting you to sign your log. There's a lot that is helping you, but like I said, what you can expect from internal is that we're going to all hands on deck and get ready for this blitz and make sure that you're set up for a clean inspection, because we want everybody to earn extra money during this DOT blitz. We do not want inspections with violations. All of our categories in the SMS or in the DOT, CVSA, whatever you want to call it, are very clean. Hours of service is our challenged one, and they're looking at that. So we want to make sure that you're prepared and you have everything done. Make sure you're getting your half-hour break. Make sure you're paying attention to that and not going over that. If you do go over that and you're oversized, make sure that you have your permits with you for that period to make sure that you have evidence to prove. We can obviously data queue anything, but we don't want to give that opportunity for them to have something to write up. So make sure that you're taking your half-hour break after 8 hours on duty or driving, or the combination of both. Make sure you're getting your clean 10 off. Make everything just look good. Let's not play around and run it to where there's issues. We will have strict processes in place here. So if you are leading up to this DOT blitz and you have a violation on your log, you may not have been written up by the DOT, but we know, and it's there and it's timestamped. We're going to take some extra precautions and expect to hear from us, on a safety side, to talk through what our plans are going to be. But we want to make sure that you're set up. Split sleeper berth, I'd recommend avoiding that prior to the DOT blitz. It's gray area. It's hard to read. It can confuse not only the driver, but the DOT officer, and it could lead and prompt for more inspection. So many, many things to worry about. I like to say it's okay to be paranoid in this industry. I'm paranoid about height all the time. That's my biggest. We're a heavy haul company, and we haul wide and high and heavy. And of the three things I just mentioned, height is my biggest. That's what I get paranoid about. And I like to say it's okay. It's what makes you the best. You have to pay attention to every little aspect. And for me, it's height. I remind our heavy haul drivers, I talk to new drivers, I want to get prepared to come into the heavy haul team. Measure every load. Measure every load. Even if you have a step deck and you're like, hey, this is not a big deal, this load doesn't look big, get your height pole out and measure it. That's how you start to build healthy habits that will set you up for success for any endeavor you take on. But those are the things that that I focus on. This is the time for you as a driver to get paranoid about your logbook. Call and ask, hey, does everything look good? Is everything clean and tidied up? Am I a green check mark, or do I have any little red asterisks that need to be taken care of? We want to make sure that you're set up. So call in, use us as much as you can. You can even call Motive themselves as a company is very helpful, and they have AI chat that can even help kind of unpack some of the, if you're, hey, why is this not connecting? This doesn't seem right. Making sure everything is set up. So obviously, as we know that the hours of service is the main focus, making sure that your vehicle and your cargo securement is on point. Seems kind of obvious, right? But we need to start focusing on it now. Make sure your tires, take a look at all your tires, make sure everything is up and clean, and there's no tread that's, down bare or any cord showing, which I would expect there isn't already. We have a higher standard than that, but hey, you never know. A tire could go flat and you could have something rub, or a tire, a belt inside could start to break, and you need to make sure that it's up. This is also a good opportunity to get your tires inflated. As we reimburse a meal for every time you use a tire pass system, it's a good opportunity to get your tires inflated, get a meal, make sure you're set up. Even if you're near one of the terminals, reach out and say, hey, I want to get ready for this DOT blitz. So run through everything, make sure my tires, lights, everything looks good. Clean truck. I highly recommend making sure your truck's washed prior to the DOT blitz. It's a big deal. They're looking for the trucks that are dirty. They're looking for the guys that have all kinds of stuff in their windshield. They want to find the reason that says, hey, because they look for common things too, right? Hey, usually somebody that's got a really messy dash or things all over the place starts to leave the inside of their truck messy, and pretty soon their cargo securement is messy and the way they do things is messy. So remember, you are representing yourself before you even get to speak to a DOT's officer by what they see. So make sure your truck is clean, make sure everything looks good. Cargo securement. We don't get a lot in this area, but it does happen. We've had instances where there's those little cuts on a strap. Make sure you have no cuts. Like I said, if we're going to be paranoid, I'd highly recommend that if there is any wear on your strap, you use a different strap. I wouldn't even say pull out a tape measure and measure to see if it's under the threshold. No, use a different strap. Make sure everything is good. Make sure your securement's tight. Make sure that everything is tucked away and nice and clean. Over secure something. Don't be afraid. Nobody's teasing anyone here. If you have an extra chain or extra strap where maybe the common is just 2 straps in this bundle, go ahead and put 3. There's no reason that you can't be over prepared for this DOT blitz and set up for major success. Brakes, making sure that your brakes are good. Get under there. Make sure there's no audible air leaks. So much goes into that they're like I said, expect a level 1 inspection. They're underneath your truck. If you're in one of their shops, they can be in a pit. So they're standing up, able to get right next to everything. It's easy for them to hear it. It's harder when you're trying to walk around the truck, but make sure that truck's shut off, listen for air, do everything you can to say, hey, I'm confident in my equipment and I'm confident in this inspection. Looking for leaks, make sure you pop that hood. There's no leaks, there's no visible leaks, there's nothing that, there's no oil or any, near the injectors, fuel leaks or anything like that. Make sure that you're topped off your windshield washer fluid. Make sure your antifreeze is topped off. Make sure all of that is there, because they do check that, and you have to have windshield washer fluid it has to work. And you would, like I said, been in this game long enough, we've had situations where driver pulls in, they say, hey, okay, turn your wipers on, they work, okay, wash your windshield, and there's no windshield washer fluid in it. That's a violation. Do you want that? I don't think so. So make sure you take care of that up ahead. Make sure your fire extinguisher is secured and it's latched. It's not just laying around. Make sure your triangles are accessible and you know where they are. I like to always have my triangles next to the fire extinguisher. In the Peterbilts, that was tough because he always was right next to your seat, the fire extinguisher. So I'd put the triangles under the bunk. But wherever you can put that, make sure you kind of understand where that's at. Boom, boom, and you're ready to go. Make sure your cab card book is up to date with all of the documents necessary. Make sure you have your current registration. Make sure the DOT inspection is there. There's several other sheets that don't get changed out a lot, but make sure you have a current insurance card. Even there may be a reason where you never had to use it, but it fell out of the book, or you did use it once and the DOT inspector accidentally kept it. We've seen all of that happen before. So this is the time to go through it and make sure you have extra log sheets. You have to have blank log sheets in your truck. If you don't, that's a violation. So make sure you're taking care of that. Make sure you're looking at your trailer documents. Open that little tube or the little glass pit, the little glass cap near the dollies. That's a common place where we put them, is near the dollies. Make sure that all of the paperwork and the DOT and the registration is in there. If you're hauling oversize, here's another tip. Make sure you are not covering your license plate with your oversize sign. Once again, seems like an easy thing, but they will write you up for it. Let's call it the ticky-tack violations, but they will write you up for it. These are all, the reason I'm able to raffle these off so fast is because they're all real issues we've had. So many things to go through that play into this role just on the equipment and maintenance side. Like I said, making sure there's no loose dunnage, making sure your tarps are secured to your deck, making sure all of that is clean and tidy. Your tires, your lights, your brakes, the visual appearance, make sure your truck's washed, make sure your cab's clean, make sure your documents in there, extra logbook sheets and all of that. But let's talk about when you get into that inspection. Polite, be courteous. Remember, this is their job. They're not just picking on you. There is, a chance that they saw something or something that prompted them. We like to talk like unsafe driving is the gateway drug to most inspections, right? That is true most of the time. If you get pulled over, other than a scale for a roadside inspection, you most likely had some sort of violation in the moving category, or the unsafe driving bucket, which could be speeding, could be cell phone use, it could be not stopping at a sign. There's many of them, but those prompt other inspections. This one could be a little bit different with the DOT Blitz because you could just roll into a scale and it could say everyone's pulling over and we're checking books, or hey, 1 out of 3 is getting pulled in for an inspection. That's just the way it is. So make sure you're calm, polite. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Those are all good indicators that you're professional, and act like it. That's the best way to put it. You're a professional in this industry. Let's act like it. Pull in, be prepared, give them what they need, follow instructions, and know that they're going to look for a level 1 type of inspection. If they do find a violation that you do not agree with, please take pictures. We have to have factual evidence. And if you take pictures of that, and we on the company side agree with, hey, yes, that's interpreted a little bit wrong, we will data queue it on your behalf. That's not only a benefit to you as a driver, it's a benefit to us as a trucking company as well. We do not want false negative inspection reports on there. So we will go to bat and fight for it. But I still encourage you to be positive. I encourage you to have a good attitude. I encourage you to respect what that DOT officer is doing, because he is out there to enforce, to keep good trucks on the road and get the bad ones off the road. So that's our duty, to make sure that we do not give them anything to write up. So I want to run through everything again real quick, just a final checklist. I can't explain how important this is. This is probably one of the most pivotal DOT blitzes there is, because we're so excited with where our CSA scores are headed. We give a huge shout out to Motive. That's helped so much, and I mean that, and it's helped the driver stay safe, which in turn, a safe driver means that our CSA and DOT numbers are going to look better, and that's the same for the driver, right? Less bad inspections, more clean inspections. That means your record is looking good, and that's what you want. You can also earn money with a clean inspection: $200 for a level 1, $150 for a level 2, and $100 for a level 3. We have in the past done double numbers, or $200 for every inspection or something like that. We haven't decided on that yet, but be prepared for some sort of extra incentive to come out during that DOT Blitz, because it's important. We want to make sure we do well. This is our time to shine. This is like Super Bowl for us. We prepare for this all year round. We do all kinds of maintenance work. We do all kinds of training. We create all kinds of content, everything we can to help set you up. So that's our goal. But let's go through top down again, real quick, what we need to make sure. First and foremost, logbooks. Like I said, you're going to hear from us 2 weeks out. We're going to start drilling into that, make sure every little thing is accurate and tidied up, because we're making sure that you're prepared and you're creating some small habits just even 2 weeks out before that inspection. When you get outside and do a pre-trip walk around, check your tires, your brakes, your lights, make sure that your glad hand hoses are not dragging on the catwalk and that there's any scuffing, because if there is, or if there's any wear into the cords of that airline, they will write you up for chafing airlines, and you do not want that. That's one of those ones where, as I took care of my truck, I did every single thing I can, and then they found that chafing airline, and you're going, oof, like that got me. They got me. So make sure you take a look at that. Make sure there's no air leaks. You can't hear air leaking out of your glad hands. You don't hear air leaking underneath your trailer or when you stand near your fifth wheel plate. Make sure everything is tidied up. When it comes to cargo securement, like I said, I would not hold back on being over-secured. Make sure you do it right. If you have a strap with a cut in it, do not use it at all. I'd highly recommend you box that thing up and shut it down, because you do not need to use that strap. Use a high-quality strap We issue them. Most trucks have way more straps than they need. Find the right strap, pay attention. Make sure your dunnage and your tarps are secured to your trailer and everything looks good there. Wash your truck. Make sure it's clean. They look at that too. I mean, so many things. Your dash, make sure there's not paper scattered everywhere. Take time and tidy that up. Make sure you stand like a professional and you look like a professional. When you do get pulled over, keep that high integrity and keep that professionalism. Make sure you speak with courtesy and you're polite. Understand that the DOT officer has a job to do and you're part of that. Make sure you contribute as many ways as you can. Look for leaks under the hood. Look for any type of fluid leaking and understand what it is. Send it in to fleet. Let's get ahead of it. Make sure you top off your windshield washer fluid and your antifreeze is topped off. Make sure everything looks good there. Make sure you know where your fire extinguisher is and that it's secured and it's in the green. Make sure your triangles are fine. You can find them. Every truck comes with triangles. So if you don't have them, somehow they got lost or you used them and they didn't get boxed back up, make sure you know where they are. Pay attention to that. Your windshield and the stickers, make sure you have your IFTA sticker. Make sure your Minnesota annual inspection stickers in the window. Make sure your license plate tab sticker is on. Make sure you have all your paperwork in your cab card book. There's a lot to these inspections, guys and gals. Make sure you're prepared. So preparing for 2025 DOT Road Check is truly about taking action now. Super excited to start early. And the more effort we put in by prepping our vehicles, making sure they get run through the shops, making sure you use that Tire Pass system, anything you can do now. Like I said, as this airs, you have 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks and it starts May 13th through the 15th. So try your best, be prepared, earn some more money, get that sticker on your windshield that shows that you had a clean level 1 inspection and be proud of that. That's something to hang your hat on. And let's stay safe and compliant and make sure that we are the champions of the road. Until next time, keep trucking personal.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Keep Trucking Personal. We appreciate you taking the time to explore the heart and soul of Kiwi Brothers Trucking with us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review to let us know your thoughts. Tune in next time as we continue our journey together, diving deeper into what makes us a community, a catalyst for positive change, and a home for those who aspire to be part of something truly extraordinary. Until then, keep trucking, and we'll catch you on the next episode.